Back here to the PM show, nationwide, coast to coast on CRN Digital Talk Radio. We got the great Robert Blake here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, the book is called Tales of a Rascal. Robert Blake, What I Did for Love. It is quite easy read. Like, as I mentioned, when you start reading it, it's Robert Blake talking to you. And I don't know if he'll tell us some of the stories in here before, but there's one that jumps out to me, and that's talking about you and talking about how you like to ride trains and you getting into New Orleans and doing your thing and hanging out with Steve McQueen. Can we talk about that a little bit? Can you?
You insisted on going there, didn't you? I told you I wanted to go to jail for 5 minutes. You said, well, it's my show, Jive Ass. We're going where I say.
We'll go to jail, but that's such a great story.
It's going to take an hour and a half to tell a story about Steve McQueen. I was in New Orleans. Steve McQueen balled somebody's wife, and I wound up with him running all over New Orleans that night with 20 guys chasing us. They were going to kill both of us. I got under a truck. Steve McQueen went up on the third floor, walked into somebody's apartment. They pointed a shotgun at him. They recognized him as McQueen. He took the shotgun. He went out on the balcony and shot the shit out of the whole alley where I was hiding under the truck. But he thought it was funny. I wanted to get rid of him because I had to get to the train station.
You had 3 hours in town, right?
I had to go back to work and so what I did was, because I didn't want those guys to get me, so I went and I bought a whole bunch of junk from an old blind lady. I bought lipstick, I bought everything, and I became the gay Blade. And I'm walking down the street singing, I'm in the mood for love. And I was playing, hi, sailor, you want to go out tonight? Till I got to the train station. I was the gayest guy in the whole world. So those guys didn't, and I saw them. They were up and down the street trying to find McQueen. He thought it was cool. He thought it was funny that people wanted to kill him. I was not that impressed. Anyway.
I think you would be. And the conductor was, he made you show ID, I think, is to get back on the train, right?
Did you get any takers?
He thought for sure that I was a straight guy that had been turned out in New Orleans, and it was my first night of being gay.
And Bob says, thank you, Mac. I won't give you any more problems. Let me back on the train. It was great.
We don't have to talk about it.
I know, we don't anyway. But anyway, so that's the kind of stories in the book, and it's like you feel like you're there when you're talking about it. And when you were under the truck and you heard the gunshots, you thought your career was over just by this chance meeting or something, because you're hearing gunshots all around. I mean, to put yourself in that place, interesting.
The book, a lot of people have said, well, we love the stories, but you got to cut out the stuff where you were arrested. You got to cut out your opinion of the cops in Los Angeles. You got to cut out this. You got to cut out that. And then it'll be like what? Then it'll be like Ernie Borgnine's book. And it'll be like Donald Duck's book. And it'll be like everybody else's book. But that ain't the life that I had. The
Right.
fact of the matter is, I was up for murder 1 on 4 counts. I spent a year in solitary confinement. I had to go through trials. I was worth $20 million. I wound up broke. Right now, I couldn't buy the hole in a nickel donut. But I'm okay. I got a little pension from social this and that and whatever. So I get my bills paid every month. But, I couldn't buy a hand job for a field mouse. I'm that broke. But I'm not going to go make money the wrong way. I'll go back in front of a camera someplace, and I'll work, and somebody will pay me just the way they did when I was 2 years old. I'm still the same guy. I still know how to do that shit, and that's what I'll do. The rest of it, if I took out, there's all this talk about the jail and how bad the deputies are and how they're beating people up.
Right.
98% of that is all bullshit, because all the people who are saying it are people that want their name in the paper. So you did some time in the joint, and now they're after the deputies, so you can't say a deputy is good. Nobody's going to print that. If you say a deputy, threw me down and he did this to me, and they got a guy on film saying, look what he did to me. How do you know that guy wasn't on crystal meth trying to tear his own arms off when the deputies had to do what they had to do? The real problem in the jail, and I spent a year there, is not the deputies. The real problem is the fact that that jail is run by civilians who have you can buy dope. And I'm telling you firsthand, it's easier and cheaper to buy dope in Men's Central Jail than it is to buy it on the street. That's how much dope is in there. They talk about trustees. There are no trustees in there. Every trustee is a mule carrying dope around. I saw dope passed in there by everybody. There's no. I'll just tell you this very simply. Now, down the hall from where I was the commissary.
Right.
All right?
Okay.
Now, a woman works there. She's an independent contractor. Maybe she's even from across the border and doesn't have papers. Nobody cares. She's making $200 or $300 a week. She can make $500 a week by just putting a pack of cigarettes in her purse and going to work. Nothing wrong with having cigarettes. She can have cigarettes. And while she's there, she hangs her purse up. A trustee comes up, takes the cigarettes out, and sells them for $1 a piece. That's just the tiniest end. If she wanted to, without a cavity search, she could put a whole prophylactic of cocaine in her vagina and take it in. Nobody's checking her. She doesn't get any pension. She has no hospitalization. She has nothing. Now multiply that by 1,000,000 times. The whole medical department is independent. The people who fix the lights, the people who fix everything, they all are independent workers, and they have no incentive to do right. They can make a lot more money doing wrong. And the deputies get stuck putting up with that shit because when somebody gets loaded, the deputies have to deal with it. All this, it's not all nonsense. But in the first place, working in that jail is the most cushy job that a deputy can have in the world. You know why? You know what he does?
What?
Nothing.
Yeah.
He never even touches anybody. All he does is walk around when they're serving the food. He walks around when they're handing out the dope at night. He walks around this way. He walks around there. Most of them are the first-year guys, and they put him in there because they don't. When you're out on the streets, people got guns. They want to blow you away. What the hell's the big threat in there? What can an inmate possibly do to a deputy to threaten him where he's got to do bodily harm to him? What the hell can he do? There's nothing going on in there with the deputy. Yeah, there's a young deputy who's frightened, and maybe he smacks a guy or does a little of this or a little of that, but that's not what the problem is. The problem is that place, you can buy guns in there. You can buy any goddamn thing you want because there's a river of shit going in and out of there every day, and the deputies ain't got nothing to do with it. And deputies also have a lot to lose by screwing up. The lady that works in the kitchen don't got nothing to lose by screwing up. She got a half-ass job anyway.
Unbelievable. Robert Blake, ladies and gentlemen, taking a break, coming back with more. It's the PM show. The book is called Tales of a Rascal. Robert Blake, What I Did
Why do
for
we
Love.
keep punching the book? You can't buy it.
That's actually, maybe you
You're
got a
just
point.
doing it by habit.
Maybe you got a point there. You're absolutely right. Forget the book. Robert Blake is here. We'll be back.
If I